Okay, well this is the AEI Security SG4000 Solar Guard Wirefree Alarm System. It has a dial-up feature in the control panel, and what I'm going to do here just within a few minutes is show you how to get the whole system programmed up, how to set the switches and how to get everything talking. So the first thing I'm going to do, you can see that I've removed the panel here on the strobe panel here on the external siren unit. I've removed the battery compartment on this unit. I've got batteries only in the magnetic door detectors. So let's go ahead and let's get things fired up. I'll use the power supply, plug that in, and then connect on the underside of the control panel here. That immediately fires up the control panel. We'll pop the third rechargeable battery in there, so that's all now powered up. The next thing we have to do is reveal the switches in all of our detectors. Now in the PIRs, we unclip the PIR here. I'm just going to remove that battery, stand that there. In the remote control, we just remove the battery cover there in the remote, and over on this side in the magnetic door detector I'm going to remove the battery compartment there just by sliding that down. Now the first thing I do is I make sure that all my switches in all the detectors are switched to the off position. So the remote control, just double check, make sure they are all pushed to the off position. In the PIRs, all to the off. And I can see in the magnetic contacts they're both set to off. Now this particular kit has got an extra magnetic contact which is not normally included in the pack. Now the first thing we have to do is set up our site code, sometimes referred to as a house code. That's the first 9 switches in all your detectors, and in the remote control itself it only has 9 switches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a very simple site code. I'm going to choose switch 1 in the on position and switches 2 to 9 in the off position. I will do exactly the same in the PIR movement detectors here. In fact, I'll use a small screwdriver for this. In this one, just pushing switch 1 on. In the magnetic door detectors, just push that up. That's in the on position and in the on position there. In the remote control we mentioned that we only have 9 switches. That's because it only has a site code associated with this device. Within the detectors, however, they are also set to a zone. So you'll notice in the detectors here you have switches, well, it goes beyond 9 to 10, 11 and 12. If you refer to the manual, zone 1 is 10 up, 11 and 12 down. So the purposes of this exercise, I'm going to pop all the detectors into zone 1. I'll do the same on door detectors here, and that's it. I've now finished doing my setting up of all the detectors. I'm going to pop the batteries now in the PIRs. I will just double check that I have that switch pushed in the test position. That's up for this exercise, and for initial setup they must be in the test position. I should have another battery around here, sorry, that's found its way over there. Now because the control panel has been fired up for the first time, it's in what's called a test mode or battery change mode. It means that the fact that these tamper switches are released here, they're not triggering the alarm system, and that's a unique feature when you first power up the control panel. So now we have the PIRs fully powered up with their batteries connected. We can clip the front covers on, and there we have it, and pop the battery cover back on the remote control. At this point we are in a position where we have set up all these detectors here. We can test these door detectors simply by removing the magnet from the side. As we remove the magnet from the side, you will see that the LED lights up in here. Now this enables you to test at what point the magnet can be fixed on the door frame for it to work. You'll see that if you've got it in the wrong position, the LED is not moving as you pull the magnet away. So clearly, and according to the manual, the magnet needs to be within 5mm or so of the side there. You pull it away and that simulates the opening and closing of the door. So the next and most important thing is that we've selected our site code in these devices. That site code now has to be learnt into the control panel. These detectors and remote control will talk to the control panel. It's the job and function of the control panel then to report to the external siren unit. So the next stage, I'm going to show you how to learn that code, which only needs to be done from one of these detectors into the control panel, and the step after that will be quite simply the code that's transmitted from here to trigger the bell box has to be learnt into this unit here. This is all now done without switches. It's done simply by digital memory. So I'll take you now to step 2. Now what we're going to do is learn the site code from the remote control into the control panel. Now we have to enter a sequence of codes on the keypad here, and we have to do it relatively fast. If you pause, it will restore back to its original setting. In effect, we have to start the sequence again. So we have to be fairly brisk. The code that you need to enter, and I'll read it out first, is L1234. Wait for L to appear in the display, then press the hash button. So here we go. Let's try it now. L. 1, 2, 3, 4. L. Hash. Now we're in a position where we can learn the code from one of the detectors. In fact, that PIR has already tripped and learnt the code in there. So has this one. But in reality, what would have been better would be to have turned those over, because they're causing the panel now to trip because they're talking to it. And what you could have done was simply learnt it from the remote control, and that would have been the better event. And now, because it's all learnt up, it's ready to go, and you'll see the mode button is actually causing the control panel to trip. Well, in this case it's in ARM mode, so I'll press that again. That's armed it. I'll just wait for that to finish its exit beeps. Okay, now I'll press the mode button again. Okay, and there we've disarmed it. So we have now learnt the code from the remote control into the control panel. But in actual fact, as you could see, it actually learnt the code from the PIR. It doesn't matter which item learns the code into this unit, provided you set the site code up the same in all devices. So in this final step, we simply need to learn the transmitted code sent from the control panel to the external siren unit. The first thing we do, make sure obviously the power is connected to the external siren unit. We make sure that the switch settings here, that's in function 1, and this is set to mode B, which is for use with a control panel. We can press the start button here. We're all now ready to go, and we will be pressing that learn button. So to cause the control panel to send that command, which is a secret command, to the external siren unit here, we need to trip the control panel. The easiest and quickest way to do that is to put our hand over the siren unit like so and press the panic button here. We then must, within 5 seconds, press the learn button in the solar guard. So here goes the sequence. When I press the panic button here, the code is instantly transmitted to the siren unit. When the learn button is pressed, you will hear 3 beeps from the siren unit. This LED will light and then go out to indicate that it's learnt the code. Here we go. And there, we've learnt that code. I can stop the siren there. Start button always stops it. In effect, it's a light reset function.